Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and implement Security Copilot with Entra ID, and the same can be integrated with Microsoft Intune as well, right? So as soon as we have that integrated with Entra ID, it is going to be pretty straightforward and easy as well, right? And that is what I'm going to show you today, right? So the first is going to be something like I'm going to simply integrate with Entra ID, and upon that we can simply go ahead and do that with Intune as well, right? So yesterday I talked about it, and I have given few different topics around it, as well as different use cases and why we should use it, how it is going to help security teams, including SOC security operations team, and how they can utilize it for their proactive and reactive work as well, right? And basis on that, it is going to help them to be able to identify any of those security configurations, and if there are any potential threats, those might be impacting the business and organizations and system overall, and how each security team or security member, whoever has the appropriate access and permissions and everything, they would be able to get the work done, right? Because they would be able to filter it out, they would be able to speed up their work and process as well. And upon that, it is going to help them to dig deeper, as well as they would be able to find all the incidents related situations across the organization, right? So let's jump on to the demo and I'll show you how we can go ahead and do that, right? So let me share my screen here quickly, and we should be good with it. All right, you can see that I have shared my screen, and this is the Intune page where we can simply integrate it with. And as I said, it needs security administrator role for both Entra ID and Intune to be able to configure it, right? And to configure it, there is no direct URL where we can simply go ahead and set it up. But this page over here, which is a part of Security Copilot, right? And there are two options, right? And the recommended is this one, which is provision capacity within Security Copilot, right? And there's one of the URL over here which says sign into Security Copilot. And once you sign in with the appropriate access levels, and if you have appropriate permissions along with the subscription as well, you should be good to go ahead and sign it up or set it up, right? So you can see that it is going to simply open it up. Okay, it's throwing an error. Let's refresh it and it should be opening up. All right, it's saying powering up. That means it is loading gradually. And all right, so here you can see there is a bunch of details, right? And once we set this up, everything is going to be provided. Now, what it says is set up your security capacity under this one. But before that, if you wanted to know and understand more onto this, is you can read this one. Also, there is a detailed document to understand this one, right? So it says Security Copilot is an interactive AI first platform with asset mapping, tiered storage, policy services, integration services, and more. It powers all the workloads of security platforms across the 365 and Azure ecosystem. All right. So let's start with the subscription selection. So here is the one of the subscription I have, and I have some of the resource groups as well, but I would simply go ahead and create one. So we know what is that sec copilot, right? So I'm going to create with this name, and we can give it a capacity name as well, right? And then basis on that, it should be good. Also depends on what capacity name we wanted to give. So that's customizable and we can put it as expected. The next is prompt evaluation location. So we can select a specific location: Australia, Europe, UK, and United States. So these are the four locations currently available. and we can select any of those one, right? So upon selection, there is a small checkbox which says if this location has too much traffic, allow Copilot to evaluate prompts anywhere in the world, which is recommended for optimal performance, right? So why it is asking us, or why it has given that prompt or option for us, is to get us the optimal performance when there is an situation with the performance and all of that kind of situations. It would redirect the workload to different nearby regions and locations, and from there it is going to pick up and deliver that service, right? So that is why we can go ahead and check this box. For now, I'm not going to add because I don't have that need or requirement. And then you can add the capacity region. So this is something you need to find what are the regions falling under this respective prompt evaluation locations, and then you can add it, right? So for now, I'm going to keep it as is. But if you are going to select any of these others like Europe, UK, or United States, right? So you can go ahead and select that appropriate one, right? So for now, let's say we wanted to select Australia and keep it as is. Then next comes select the number of units. So how many units you wanted to provision, right? So provisioned security compute units, which is going to cost us $4 per unit, right? So if we are using 1 unit, so it's going to cost us $4 for that particular provisioned unit. So this means that it has a computing power which is going to run on that respective box, right? And that is why it has a cost around, or cost of $4 per unit, right? So we need to make sure that is also in considerations when we are provisioning number of security compute units and how many units are needed, right? So based on that, that can be taken away. The next is use coverage units when needed, right? So what this means is that when you need an additional coverage or additional power or computing needs, then you can enable this one. But you can see that it is going to cost additional, which is going to 6 USD per unit, right? So that means if we wanted to add it additionally, a kind of load balancing, right, or kind of auto scaling, right, when it hits the particular threshold, then we wanted to expand its capacity to the next level so that it is going to provide us the additional support or additional computing power, so that it is going to help us to perform our jobs, our requirements, and tasks and everything together. So we can set it up as well. So for now, I'm not going to set it. So I'll just simply disable it. And if we set it to yes or enable it, we have options there to number of on-demand units. So how many units we wanted to provision. So there are two options, no limit, and second is set a maximum limit, right? So if we say set a maximum limit, how many units we wanted to set, maybe 3 or 4, something like that. And we can set 3 units per hour, right? So that is going to be too much as well at point, because if we are utilizing that much, that means we have a lot of usage of this capability, right? And if we say no limit, then there is no limit at whatever is going to be used and provisioned and consumed based on the usage. It is going to provide all that computing power and capacity, right? So for now, I'm going to disable this one, and that is not needed at all. And once we are good with this setup, we should be ready to go ahead and check this box, which says, I acknowledge that I read, understood agreement terms of conditions, right? And once we do that, we have button over here at the end, which is a continue, right? So click that continue button, which is going to take us to the next one on the setting up your security capacity, right? So it might take few minutes basis on the configurations and its prerequisites to be checked as well at the same time. So if everything is good and is set up as expected, then it is going to provision it for us. And as I also said that if you wanted to decommission it, or you wanted to simply offboard it, you can go ahead and do that as well. So there is nothing like once you do that, you cannot remove it or you cannot do it because there might be requirements and situations what you wanted to do, or maybe you are trying to do a POC for the projects or something like that. That is also possible. And now we are on the page where it says help improve Copilot. And there are these two options which says allow Microsoft to capture data for Security Copilot to validate and product performance using human reviews. Allow Microsoft to capture and human review data from Security Copilot to build and validate security AI models. And then you can also read about the privacy and data security policy, right? So this is something, it depends on organization and how they think about it, what they wanted to do, whether they wanted to enable, disable, they can take the appropriate actions, right? And for now, I'm going to keep it as is and hit that continue button and move to the next page. And here it says skip this step for now, right? So also there's option, or this gives us a details bit about logging audit into in Microsoft Purview, right? So this again depends whether we wanted to enable this one, allow Microsoft Purview to access, process, copy, and store customer data from Security Copilot service. So this is again depending on the organizations whether we wanted to do that. And you can see there are some other areas where we can set up logging security data, Purview data residency, Microsoft Purview auditing, and then setting up Microsoft Purview DSPM for AI, right? So these are the four different options that we can set up as well, right? So for now, I'll just open those links separately and we can review that later. And once we are good here, just hit that continue button and it is going to set it up, right? So you can see that it is showing us as Copilot usage. So who are the owner, who are the recommended owners, right? Add other recommended owner roles as well in case you wanted to use it. And then there's a bit who'd like to add you. So if in case we wanted to add more people, we can simply go ahead and add those people as well, right? So once we are good here, just hit that continue button and we should be good here to access it one, right? So once we get that ready and set up, we should be good to go ahead and use it. All right, so you can see that it says you are all set. Here is the Azure resource links that is going to show us. This is a subscription, this is a resource group and location. And then you can see here's the link as well. So this is the link of Security Copilot and hit that finish button. So it's going to simply make this Security Copilot ready for us to access it. All right, you can see that it has shown us a correct, or it has provisioned the Security Copilot for us. And now we are good to go ahead and test, right? And now if in case we wanted to see, let's say we wanted to go ahead with application assignment. So what is the group app name assigned to what? And then we can simply prompt it, right? For example, let's see, I'll just give it a name, notepad assigned to, and let's see, it is going to simply start querying it. And it says no data was found for the managed app or policy notepad. Please verify that the app name or policy identifier is correct, right? So it was able to get into the system and try to find the details and come back with that, but it didn't find anything, and that is why it has given this prompt over here, right? So similarly, we can go ahead and try and give different other prompts and make use of this capability, right? And it's going to be really helpful. So on this page, you can see there are different prompt books, prompts, different roles available, which roles we can assign this to, right? At the same time, we have plugins as well. So these are the different plugins where we need to integrate. For example, I wanted to integrate with Entra ID. Then simply we can enable that one. We can enable with Intune, we can enable with Purview. Then we can enable with incident analysis, Defender XDR, and then others as well, right? So that way it is going to be helpful for us as well. All right. So these are the different plugins that we can put together to filter out the data and is going to help us to identify and perform those actions, right? So also there is a bit information about what's the agent, and there's a complete guide or documentation that we can go ahead and learn more about it, right? And if I have to go back to this pane, you can see the bunch of other settings that we can go ahead and manage and set it up. Now I have set this up with my identity. That is why I have all of these options available. But if we are assigning a particular role, maybe that respective role won't have all of that options, right? Because a kind of management of this is going to be with a particular user, right? So for example, I wanted to do the risk user investigation for this prompt, right? So I can simply start this new session. So we need to give it a do UPN, then duration, and then user UPN, then the duration, and you can see the different details about it. So all of these are the different prompts which we can simply put and use it, right? Let's go back to the main page. And we are ready to use this one, right? Also, there are prompts and sources, right? So what are the sources? So sources are those list of capabilities or sources from where this capability is going to bring, and we can utilize all those capabilities with Security Copilot in order to do our incident analysis along with proactive and reactive work, right? And based on that, it is going to help us to make sure we are doing appropriate actions. And you can see that there are lot many. So if I have to click on show more, so there are 35 plus. You can see there is a setup button, and many of them are third party providers as well. So we can bring them to the Security Copilot and use those with this one. And also we can add our own Copilot plugin and OpenAI plugins to enhance your responses, right? So this way it is going to be possible as well. Even we can upload files as well that can be utilized for the same with a customized prompts if in case we wanted to use that one. And here's the prompt button which says see all prompt books, then all system capabilities and something like that, right? So it's going to show us all of that details here, and we can simply use it for our initial. For example, summarize data, and you can add your text and data to summarize, and then you can also give it some advanced details, right? So based on that, it is going to provide you detail about it, right? So yep, that is how it is going to be. Also, you can see there are a bunch of predefined user password update history if in case I wanted to, and maybe I'll just simply uh, M365 days dot tech. So this is the one of the user I wanted to check the user password history details, and you can see that it is trying to pull out that details, right? It is pulling that details from Entra ID, right? You can see that it has started and it is trying to gather the details, right? So it is preparing the response and it should give. So now it says the user this last changed the password on 2nd June at this time. The results is based on the latest available account details for this user, right? Then it is going to show that over here. Also, you can see some of the details like what licenses are assigned to this user. So these are the prompts available for us. What is the status of user account for this? Is it locked out or so what, right? What does the user or who does the user this report to? So if in case we wanted to do that, we can simply hit that prompt and this is going to show that details upon analyzing in the Entra portal, right? So let's give it a minute and it should give us that details quickly. Okay, so you can see that the user this reports to this user, right? So it has given that details and it's ready for us. Also, you can see what licenses are assigned to the user, right? So this is going to be also pretty straightforward for SOC analysts to go ahead and understand the user, whether user is active, who is reporting manager, who is what license they have, whether the user account is active or it is blocked or how it is, right? And based on that, they can prepare a complete report and that same report can be shared with users or the respective team, right? Here it says Copilot can respond right now, but due to your organization's high usage, Copilot can't respond to requests. Okay, in case allowed usage, please try again later. Okay, so it's just trying to find it, but it could not due to some technical or as per the usage threshold, I believe. But yeah, this should be able to provide that details, right? So, yep, that is what I wanted to show you and talk about as I talked about this in the last video, right? And this was the practical way of doing or setting up the Security Copilot, which needs Azure subscription, right? And I'm going to make a separate video where we can simply offboard or simply delete it one, right? Because if in case you are doing POC, then probably you won't need it and you cannot simply keep it for cost purpose and it's going to incur a cost as well, right? So, yep, that is what for this video I wanted to show you and talk about. Hope you like it. Hope you learned something new. Let me know if you have any questions, any doubts, anything that you wanted to know and learn about it. And happy to collaborate on anything that you have. And don't forget to like this video, share it to the friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well so that you get to see every new video available on the channel. Now, thanks for watching and bye for now.